Let's move it along here and talk about bluebonnets and that large swath of land. It has been 6 years that the city of Montreal has been sitting on that land that houses the old Bluebonnets racetrack. It's more than twice the size of downtown Chinatown, right? If you think of that neighborhood downtown, twice the size of that, that's the size of the Bluebonnets. So why hasn't anything happened on that site? The city says they've got these visions of an affordable eco-neighborhood, but private developers aren't biting. With more on this, let's go to someone that knows this dossier, I think, inside and out, because he spent 39 years as the councillor for Snowdon in the city of Montreal. Marvin Rotrand, friend of this program, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Elias. Always good to hear your voice.
So, I saw you quoted in a Canadian press article about this very subject. So clearly it's something that you're still passionate about. What's your take here? Well, why is that?
The last letter I wrote on the very last day I was a city councillor in November of 2021 was to the government of Quebec, and I told them that the city of Montreal's plans make zero sense and nothing would happen on the site. And that's exactly what's happened since. Nothing. Envision the Hippodrome or the Bluebonnet site. It's a huge piece of land strategically located in the center of the island of Montreal, and it remains completely empty. The clubhouse was demolished years ago because construction was imminent for housing, and nothing has happened whatsoever. If you want to build 6,000 to 8,000 housing units on a site like the city says it wants, you'd figure they would budget some money for infrastructure. The site has no sidewalks, no roads, no sewers, no water pipes, no lighting. In fact, no nothing. It's empty. And yet there isn't a dime in the city budget for capital infrastructure. It's not like the city really has done the initial work to get something going. All the city has done, the Quant administration, is hold public hearings, public consultations on a concept a couple of years ago where it said that it would do what you introduced, an eco-friendly, carbon-neutral, no-cars city, which would be 60% social housing, affordable housing, family housing. It would have community centers and jobs. It would be a city within a city. The word utopian was bandied about at the time. And of course, no private developer has come for it because they can't make a dime. In fact, you're asked by the city to lose money, and the city isn't even putting up its own funds for infrastructure. The message is very clear. 2 years after I've been a city councillor, nothing has happened, and there's nothing imminent at all. The city capital budget does have some money for the corner of Jean-Talon and Vicary, which is overwhelmed with traffic right now. But that's not connected directly to the Hippodrome. It has no money to disenclave the site. The words Cavendish Extension usually go with Hippodrome. There isn't anything progressing there. And we're essentially years behind the legal obligation to divide into lots and to start selling off for construction. Nothing is happening, and nothing will happen until the city climbs down from the utopian vision that there will be a massive amount of social housing on this site, affordable housing, etc. The government of Quebec clearly doesn't want to finance this itself. It's not its vision. It isn't going to give most of the social housing units in the province onto this one site. And this is a political project of the Quant administration that is running into something called economic reality.
Marvin, we had the mayor of Montreal on this program last week. And in our interview, and it was entirely focused on housing, she didn't want to take any responsibility for the last 6 years and what's happened in the housing market in Montreal. She pointed the finger to other levels of government, saying that she's done everything possible, basically, for housing. What's your assessment, like for our listeners here, just how much does it matter, the political will of a mayor of a city like Montreal in getting housing built?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Olivia Chow is going to be a lot more successful than Valerie Plante. Ideology is one thing, but you also have to have pragmatism. You cannot adopt rules that go against the market and make it impossible for developers to do what they have to do. We still live in a society with private investment in private housing, and when you basically tell the developers it's easier to build on the South Shore or Laval than it is in the city of Montreal, that's what they're going to do. The city's policies make the Project Montreal base happy, but they don't actually lead to anything. It's as if the mayor is basically saying, well, I have my program, and the bad government of Quebec and the bad government of Canada, they're just not doing my program. Well, she's the tail that isn't wagging the dog, and it's going to continue to be like that. The mayor can have a legitimate concern for the need to find affordability. That is legitimate. But the mayor can't be rigid and say it's got to be this way and you've got to deliver this much social housing, this much affordable housing, this much family housing, or you don't even get a permit. The market's going to say, well, Madame Plante, keep your permit. I'm building somewhere else. And that's what we're having. Look, the Plante administration dreamed big and won in 2017, telling people that we would have a pink line metro by now from Montreal North to Lachine. That hasn't even gotten off the ground. That we would have lots of social housing. That's never happened. A lot of this stuff was just written on paper. It's pure ideology that has no plan behind it to get it realized. Now, I'm not partisan in my new job, and I don't take a position at City Hall, and I don't usually comment on the municipal anymore. But the Bluebonnet site is a choice piece of land. It's a hedge against urban sprawl. It needs to be developed. And less than a kilometer to the north, across the border in town of Mount Royal, they're building one of the biggest private investments in Quebec in generations, the Royalmont project. Now, we can have criticisms about it's too big or it's got too much commercial or whatever, but they're doing it. The shovels are on the ground. The cranes are up there. Every day, new buildings are coming up, and it's going to be a hub. Meanwhile, a kilometer to the south in Montreal, there's this huge piece of land that's so valuable, and nothing is happening.
Marvin, I know you're a busy man in your new role at B'nai B'rith, but I do want to thank you. I thought it was really important to get your perspective on this issue with your decades of experience in Snowdon.
Thank you, Elias. You have a very good day.
You too. That's Marvin Rotrand. Of course, he was Snowdon City Councillor for 39 years.